Hi, my name is Jen Rulon, and you may know me as Coach Jen. After knocking out 15 Ironman triathlons, I am an everyday, healthy human just like you. In this podcast, we will discuss how to metamorphosize into an everyday, healthy human through healthy physical habits and mindsets, as well as authentic living. Let's transform together in this journey called life and become the best, everyday, healthy human ever. Hello, and welcome to the Everyday Healthy Human podcast. My name is Jen Rulon, and you may know me as Coach Jen. Well, we did it. I finally launched a podcast. And the crazy thing is that I have wanted to start a podcast since 2019. And I talked to a couple friends of mine that have had very successful podcasts and connected me with the right people, gave me all the equipment ideas. And I had all these ideas. I had titles. I had ideas. I was grabbing the Yeti microphone. I was doing all of these things for the podcast. And then 2020 happened. And then life happened. And then more life happened. And then I moved to Costa Rica. And I thought to myself, I have transformed so much throughout my whole entire life that I have metamorphosized so many times in my life that I thought to myself, it's time to share with people on a much bigger platform, such as the podcasting platform, of how I did this, why I did this, what happened, how did I change, all of this stuff. As you know, or some of you may know, that butterflies play a very huge role in my world. And that is something I'm going to talk to you about on this podcast about metamorphosizing and how I have metamorphosized many times into a beautiful butterfly, whether that's me leaving my dream job, me stopping Ironman triathlons, me moving to Costa Rica. That butterfly has played such a huge role in my world. You'll see the theme a lot. So I started recognizing that after I retired from the sport of Ironman triathlon, I realized that I am an everyday healthy human. I am not that crazy ass athlete that's going out and swimming, biking, running thousands of miles. I'm not swimming in that black line anymore. I am an everyday human, but I am also an everyday healthy human. I still work out. I still do strength training 4 days a week. I need to get back to yoga. I will walk daily or every other day. I eat healthy. I have very intuitive eating habits. I meditate. I journal. I ride my beach cruiser. All of these things have made me become an everyday healthy human, just like you. And I started figuring out, here I am, living in Costa Rica, turning 50, thinking, how am I going to age like fine, non-alcoholic wine? How can I find a better version of myself each day? And then I'm trying to figure out, how do I find purpose in this world? And I've made some big differences by a lot of athletes, by coaching triathletes over the years, right? I've coached over 50 plus athletes over the years in my triathlon coaching journey. And I'm still coaching triathletes, right? But then I thought to myself, I want to get to more. How can I get to more people? And I knew that I needed to start this podcast. I want to discuss about how not only how I have metamorphosized into an everyday healthy human through physical habits, mindset, authentic living, journaling, meditation, but I also am going to interview other people that have done their own metamorphosis. And some of these guests that I have talked with are incredible. And they're not just triathletes, runners, endurance athletes. They are people all around the world that have changed their habits, whether that was a business owner leaving a $4 million opportunity so he could become healthy, or a 25-year-old that knew when he was 8 years old, wanted to be in the circus, and he's a circus artist. Like, some of the people that I've interviewed already have just brought me so much joy for myself. And then if this brings me this much joy, then I can't wait to have these podcasts being shared with the whole world and their stories. I will have a mix of solo podcasts, so just me chatting, talking to you one-on-one, and I'm going to have a mix of guest athletes, but they're not just athletes. They're everyday healthy humans, right? So you might be asking, okay, well, great, Jen. What are we going to discuss? All right. So this is what we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about how the physical, the mindset, and the spiritual all blends in our opportunities to metamorphosize, to change. So I'm going to talk to you guys about my solo conversations. I'm going to have solo conversations with y'all. I'm going to talk to you about how much I hated running as a child and how I absolutely hated the 1 mile physical fitness test in school. I am going to talk to you about my 2 whys of starting the Ironman World or the Ironman Triathlon series, and why I wanted to get to the Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii. I'm going to talk to you about my aha moment of being done with the Ironman Triathlon. That story in itself is incredible because it was the first time that I actually talked to the universe, my higher power, on a race course and said, you're going to have to wait for that solo podcast, right? I'm going to talk to you about why I moved to Costa Rica. I'm going to talk to you about why I stopped drinking alcohol and how much better I feel. Oh, that's a whole podcast in itself. And I also am going to interview people who have stopped drinking, whether they have done it cold turkey or whether they've gone to AA. It's all about becoming a better version of yourself, right? It's becoming that beautiful butterfly. It's becoming on teaching you how to metamorphosize into your own change, right? I'm going to talk to you about like little 5-minute snippets of the books that I've written. I have written a book about strength training, which it probably needs to have a version like 5.0. I also wrote a book about like the life lessons of an Ironman triathlete. And I know that version needs to change as well. And I also wrote a book, Self-Motivation Strategies for Women, which is on Amazon. Actually, all my books are on Amazon. And I'm going to take little 5-minute snippets of that just to throw it in on a random month or whatever that might be. So those are some of the solo podcasts that I'm going to discuss to y'all about. And then I have a set of my guest podcasters. Like I said, they are not just athletes. They're not just endurance athletes. It's a combination of business owners, entrepreneurs, people, like I told you, the circus artists. Like, oh my God, that story in itself is amazing, incredible. I also talked with a gentleman who started the endurance series and who was severely obese and overweight. And he has done his first half Ironman triathlon. And now he's getting ready for the ultra triathlon, not the Ironman, the ultra triathlon. Like, that's a whole set of people that I can't fathom, right? I'm all about the Ironman triathlon, but those that do the ultras, oh my gosh, I am going to be manifesting guests that want to come on and share their story about their transformation, their own transformation, and how they managed it. And let me explain to you, you don't have to move to Costa Rica to transform to become a beautiful butterfly. Oh, not even close. You can transform in the own comfort of your own casita, in your own home. And that is what this podcast is all about. We're going to help you. We're going to talk to you about the physical aspects. We're going to talk to you about the mental aspects. We're going to talk to you about the emotional. We're going to talk to you about the spiritual. And the great thing about it all is that it all blends together. And you're going to hear a lot of people, a lot of my guests, talk to you about first and foremost important thing is to start physically, start with fitness, whether that's walking, whether that's doing yoga, whether that's doing Zumba or bachata, right? Whatever that's going to be your journey. Because the goal, remember, is for us to become the better version of ourselves as we age like fine non-alcoholic wine, to be happy, to be healthy, and to learn how to embrace that change. When I moved to Costa Rica, I had a journal on my living room table, and I still have the journal. And in this journal is the commencement speech that I wrote for University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. It was my alumni that asked me to be the keynote speaker for December of 2022. And it was an honor. And in this journal is 3 to 4 commencement speeches. And I picked the one. I picked the one that spoke to me, that inspired me. But on the top of this journal, and I see this quote every single day. Sometimes I don't even look at the quote, but I have to remind myself. And this is just a very simple reminder for you as we metamorphosize into our own change. Just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly. Here we are, the first podcast of the Everyday Healthy Human. I am overwhelmed with emotions because I have butterflies in my own stomach to get ready to launch. And when I have butterflies in my stomach, I know that I'm doing the right thing. If you are loving the Everyday Healthy Human podcast, I ask you to share with your friends, comment anywhere, subscribe, do what you can to spread the love of the Everyday Healthy Human podcast. And remember, we all want to become the better version of ourselves through our own change and become that beautiful butterfly. And as we say in Costa Rica, Pura Vida and ciao.